Hi, I'm Karen Ryan with Long Foster,
I'm Brian Hope with Prosperity Home Mortgage.
and we're here to give you one of our updates on the market as well as talking about interest rates and how mortgages will be able to help you get in the home that you're looking for. So, Brian, we know it's a very competitive market right now. There's low inventory, but that doesn't mean that you can't get in the home that you want. It takes a lot of research, working with your agent. Very important to work with your lender. And talk a little bit about, you and I have recently had two successful closings where two of my clients who both work with Brian were able to get their first offer and the home that they wanted.
Yeah, look, this market is extremely competitive, right? And we know that. But it doesn't mean that it's impossible to win that first offer. I mean,
Exactly.
We've seen that with the last two clients that we've worked with. It takes a team to get this thing done. So what Karen and I have done, and this has helped with a number of our clients in the past, and more recently, the most recent two that we've closed, is not only getting them pre-approved, which means talking to a lender, going through what they qualify for, filling out an application, but getting all their documents in so I can submit them to an underwriter.
Right.
So now we're not only pre-approved, we're actually fully underwritten and approved by the underwriter and by the mortgage company.
Right.
So when we're submitting that offer and they're looking at all of these offers on the table, we're the one that stands out because the financing piece is done, they're approved for the loan, and we can actually then waive the financing contingency.
And that was really helpful.
Which is huge. That's a safety net for the buyer in case something was to happen with the loan, right?
Right.
But what we already know when they're through underwriting, they're ready to go.
Right.
And then one other thing that we add on top of that, and then we just rolled this out in January, is as long as they get through underwriting, we can offer a $5,000 closing guarantee to the seller and to the buyer. So that's guaranteeing that we will hit that closing date. If we don't, the seller gets $5,000 and the buyer gets $5,000.
Right.
So
It's awesome.
again, it's a no-brainer. It's what has helped your clients and our clients win these offers the first go around, and that's so hard to do in this market.
It is hard.
But
Very
it's
hard.
possible if you're prepared, and that's what we
Right.
do here at Long & Foster and Prosperity: is prepare your clients, educate them, and get them ready to go so that when they make their offer, it's the most competitive that they possibly can.
Right. So the one of the most recent one I'm going to close, the listing agent had previously had the house on the market and they closed it, and my client was at that point not looking just then. But anyway, we know that they closed it and reopened the listing, and likely pretty much it was because the financing fell through. So when I made our offer and mentioned, Brian talked to the listing agent, and which is another key thing, but when I mentioned that we were waiving the appraisal, which not everyone can do that, but because he'd been fully underwritten, they were like, wow, that was great. So sometimes that's almost even better than cash.
It
right?
is, and it's actually the equivalent of a
It's
cash
equivalent
deal,
of cash,
right?
yeah.
Because not only can we waive the financing contingency, if we're through underwriting, we can now shrink that closing date and we can shorten it up, which a lot of the times is equal to the cash deal, right?
Exactly.
Cash deals can usually close in 2 weeks. Well, hey, if we're through financing and we're done with the underwriting process, we can close in 2 weeks too.
Right, and that's a huge, we're seeing most of our sellers somewhat rent back, but the majority of them, they just want to close the deal, they're ready to get out. What about rates? Let's talk about rates right now. So we're in March 1st.
March 1st. So rates are over the last 40 or 50 year timeline, still historically low.
Right.
So,
Oh, yeah.
if you look at this micro market, yes, rates have increased from where they were last year.
Right.
And so we're probably seeing estimates and projections that rates are going to be anywhere between 3.875 to kind of 4.5 this year,
Right.
depending on the product, depending on how good your credit score is and your down payment, things of that nature. But again, 4.5, 4.25, 3.875, these are all rates that are still historically low.
Right.
And what we're seeing is most likely, again, nobody knows what's going to happen. Obviously, there's
Sure.
too many factors going on and things that are changing in our world on a daily basis.
Exactly.
But most people are projecting rates over the next few years will probably continue to slowly rise. So it's still a great time to get in. It's a great time to lock in the lower interest rates that we're seeing, and get in before home prices continue to rise even further too, because we're
Sure.
seeing that as well.
Well, and we talk a lot about people who are downsizing and selling their home and going to a smaller place, and using the value of their equity, or if they paid the house off. We also talk a lot about first-time home buyers. And we've also had clients who maybe their credit hasn't been as great as it could be for a loan. But that doesn't mean you can't get in a house, and Brian knows that too. There's a lot of guidance that he can provide you to clean up your credit if you need to, or
Sure.
that kind of thing.
And I think that's a key factor in all this is, Karen and myself, we don't just help you find a home, right? That's obviously like the end result that we look to do and help you out with. But on my side, it's creating it more of an education for you on what you're getting yourself into on the mortgage. But also, if you may not be ready from a credit score perspective, I can look into those details of the report, figure out what's going on.
Right.
Is this a short-term fix where we can kind of clean up a credit card or two, or is this something where we missed some payments and we need to get on a more long-term plan?
Right.
And I can walk you through either of those scenarios so that we're all on the same page and know, okay, this individual's ready in about 30 or 45 days. This individual's probably ready in about 3 to 6 months.
Right.
We can talk about that so we're ready to go.
Right, and it's never too early, as Brian will tell you, and I tell you as well. It's never too early to start looking at your financing options and what you're going to do, because the market is, there's low inventory, and it's good to know and to work with me as far as what neighborhoods you're looking at, what options you might be looking at, and but getting all your financing taken care of ahead of time is really going to help you. So when you see the place and that's where you really want to make an offer, that you're prepared.
Yeah, and preparation's key. Right?
Preparation is everything.
That's what we're here for. So the earlier the better. It's never too early to start, and the more work that we can do in the beginning, the better chance you're going to have at winning that offer when we go and find that perfect home.
And we're here for you. So thank you so much, Brian.
You're welcome. Thank you, Kate.
And thank you all, and please feel free to contact Brian or I. Our information's at the bottom of the video. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.